It is 7:01. We've had some minutes for everyone to get here. And on that note, opening thoughts over to Mr. Frederick.
Thanks very much, George. Appreciate it. Hope everybody's having a great time. We're less than we had a meeting last week. We're about 2.5 months away from getting on airplanes to fly into Seoul. Some of you will be going as work. Some of you will be going to participate. Both the unit leaders, patrol leaders, and the participants themselves will be getting on 2 of the planes, one from Vancouver and one from Toronto. Wanted to talk about a couple things tonight. We're going to be talking about code of conduct. If you don't know me by now, I am a scouting memorabilia collector, and I was out today and I found this. So this is an official Rexcraft Boy Scouts sort of trumpet or bugle, and I thought it would be fun to take this and learn how to play it on the plane.
Somehow David muted himself, which is awesome. But Laura and I strongly will protest that learn it on the plane part because we are sitting next to you.
Yes.
That's
yes.
correct. We will be talking about code of conduct, and that's one of the things that we will be talking about is how to behave in South Korea. We've asked the unit leaders and the patrol leaders to have a discussion about code of conduct. We're going to be talking about code of conduct as well tonight as well. We're looking forward to it. We're going through an awful lot of the information. If you aren't following through with what we're doing right now, please go to our Facebook pages. You will see all the information. Ruben actually just downloaded a great resource of what to pack because there's quite a few people who have been asking that question on what to pack. So we have that up for everybody. We have some great information coming your way tonight as well too in regards to Samungjang Got Talent, which we're going to be talking about. We need to find out who among us actually have the talent, who might actually know how to play this. I'm going to practice and see if in the next week and a half I can get good enough to play this. We'll
Ruben would like you to play it right now.
No, I don't think so.
We're not recording. No one will ever know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I have, and the team was going to be talking about a whole bunch of things for the participants. Now, there is somebody who's causing a little bit of grief, and I think Susie is on it now at this point. We want to talk, make sure that anybody that is on the call is respecting everybody else. And again, we're talking code of conduct because you're going to hear some really important information in regards to the code of conduct tonight, and something that could be very much that you really need to pay attention to. So turning it back to you, George.
I've muted myself so nobody can hear me cough as I talk. Actually, the over to you part is over back to you and Susie to talk about all this fun stuff you talked with everybody about last time. So David, Susie, and Remy were very recently in South Korea to see what's going on, and they have some awesome news about the site and everything that's going on for us, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So actually back over to you.
Thank you very much. And since I sort of have 2 great people who have been basically managing key parts of this, I'm going to turn it right over to Susie so that you just don't hear my voice tonight. And Susie.
Thanks. I was just looking for whoever keeps coming into the call. The name is Tent, so we just need to figure that out. So yeah, we had a great visit. We've been, and as everybody is seeing, I'm sure through all of our social media channels, a ton of information is coming out. With that in mind, deadlines are going to be a lot quicker. Things are going to be a lot more important, that you're on top of your email, you're letting all your youth know everything coming out. And we're really preparing everybody for what's needed. We've this week is about 6 or 7 deadlines as we as a team get through them. So it's moving along. It's moving along quite fast. We are, as Dave said, we are just over 2 months away. Some of us leave. We would already be there in 2 months. There's quite a few of us that will already be there. So with that in mind, heed everything that you're getting from us. If you don't feel you're getting information, please reach out. Don't feel lost. Please make sure that you're reaching out so that we get everybody the information they need. Laura will speak a little bit later on the registration side and some important things that you guys need to know over the next little while, and that part of the process. For everybody here, you need to ensure that the information you're sent for your travel, you need to make sure you have it with you. So Dave Pulio will remind everybody on those pieces. If something is missing, we can't guarantee that you're going to be able to either get on your flight or have your medication there or be able to get on the site. So as each member talks tonight and goes through some of those things, please, everybody around the table, no matter what position you are, take heed of that information. It's quite important. We've been sharing on social media everything about program that we've received. I think there's about 5 or 6 posts now out about how program will work. For all the youth on the call, your scouters know this already, but you'll be traveling as a unit to each of your program activities, and your program will be decided. It's randomized, so you'll be getting your list of all your program activities. So that's your PULs and JULs were given that information 2 weeks ago. The site, it looks very good. The drainage, they've been working through all the drainage portions. However, I still recommend, and we as a team still recommend, that you figure out how to get yourself off the ground, and the cot is the best way. There are some fairly lightweight cots out there. They will help you a great deal if we get the rain that sometimes happens in Korea. That was prevalent about 2 weeks ago. There was a major rainstorm there. The drainage has been sorted out since then. However, we need to know that it will rain. Keep that in mind. You're going to get wet. Make sure that you bring everything you need for that situation. The food, you will probably hear, all of our deadlines are Wednesday. So we are assuming then that the food will be released towards the end of that week with a fairly quick deadline as to when you guys should figure out what you want to eat. Again, somebody's in the other call. Again, this way you get some of the food you actually want to eat, and they don't randomly give you food within your patrol. So you want to make sure you're in touch with your patrol leaders to work through those parts. For everybody around the table, when you get into the airports, mainly for the ISTs, because the youth will be with their patrol leaders and they're going to a pre-camp. But for all of you ISTs that are on the call, there will be an area where you have to check in and then get on a shuttle bus to head down to the site. There's a stopover halfway. It's a 4-hour bus ride. There's a stopover halfway. The bus, they don't speak English on the bus. So you want to make sure that when you get off the bus, that you're back on the bus before it leaves. Super important, because they're not tracking you as an adult, whether you got off the bus or got back on the bus. So make sure you're on the bus with a buddy. We talked about another meeting we had earlier today and making sure you have a buddy system. Make sure somebody knows that you're off the bus and you need to get back on. It's very important, but it is a great stop because there you pick up food and use the bathroom because there are no toilets on the buses. So that's important for all of our IST folks out there. And it'll be the same on the way home. So when you're on your shuttle bus for your ISTs, this will be the same for all the youth. No, it won't. You guys are going to pre-camp. So your ISTs are going to stop at a welcome center. Your patrol leaders will be similar in nature in the fact that they will need to ensure that you have all of the right paperwork done, or they will not let you on the site. So again, as Laura mentioned earlier, in a different call, which she'll bring up as well, is make sure all your paperwork is in order. So super important, have your conversations, know your youth in your patrol, know what medications they need to take, know about their food issues, really get to know who you're traveling with. It's going to be very, very important. The airports are going to be busy. The site is going to be crazy. You need to really understand who you're traveling with as we progress through this system. The showers, bathrooms, they're all looking quite good as we move through the process of ensuring there is enough of everything. But it is looking a lot better than it did 6 months ago. So I'm pretty happy. And if you're following any of the social media chains, the building on site is all closed up and will be fully ready for use. So that's really where I come in, is because the PULs and JULs had a lot of information from us. We will be posting a few of those packages online as well, so that you guys can read over what you're going to get when you arrive at your site as youth. When you get there, you'll have to fully set up your entire site, put your tents up, set up your kitchens, all of those pieces. But you'll be in a better situation because you're going to get there during the day. So that's my 2 cents on everything that we've learned over the last while. My big suggestion is to follow our Facebook group which somebody can share in the chat. And also, please log into Discord. There's a lot of our youth that are not in there right now, but it is a very good tool that we can use to connect with each other and to be there for each other with all of our questions that we have. So really important tool for communication, but we are seeing there's not a lot of you in there. Try to get in there and use that to communicate with each other, to get to know each other a lot better.
It's all, excuse me, sorry, on that note, while we're there, it is going to be our primary form of communication, at least from the contingent out. We'll do some emails as well, but we're really going to plan to use Discord more than email.
George, can I quickly translate what's been said since the beginning? Just I think there's quite a useful information there. Donc, juste pour les francophones, on va répéter rapidement. Surtout, n'hésitez pas à n'importe quel moment à poser des questions dans le chat. Donc, bienvenue à la réunion de ce soir. Donc, le sujet principal, ça va être le code de conduite. On vient de faire une petite mise à jour sur l'état de la Corée. Je vais vous le faire bientôt. Puis, on va parler aussi du transport. Donc, par rapport à la mise à jour, pour comment ça avance, donc le système d'inscription, c'est important de le garder à jour. Donc, c'est avec ça qu'on communique avec vous. Donc, communiquez avec nous s'il y a des changements. Les documents importants de voyage vont être essentiels à apporter avec vous. Donc, assurez-vous qu'ils sont tous à jour, qu'ils sont remplis, que vous en avez une copie pour apporter avec vous. Les médias sociaux du contingent sont maintenant bien garnis avec beaucoup d'informations sur le Jamboree, sur les événements qui vont se dérouler sur place. Il y a aussi une liste de l'équipement à apporter. Donc, assurez-vous de bien le regarder. Les activités pendant le Jamboree pour les participants vont se passer en unité. Vous allez être attribués de façon aléatoire. Donc, vos chefs de patrouille vont avoir de l'information sur ça sous peu. Le site a l'air très bien. On avait des gens en Corée il y a quelques semaines qui ont pu s'assurer que tous les progrès, le site progresse bien, il va être prêt pour nous accueillir. Cependant, on s'attend à ce qu'il y ait de la pluie pendant l'événement, donc on recommande toujours d'avoir un petit lit pour pouvoir être surélevé, éviter de se mouiller pendant la nuit. La nourriture, les détails vont arriver bientôt. Vous allez devoir passer des commandes en patrouille. Donc, assurez-vous d'être prêt. Quand on va vous envoyer l'information au chef de patrouille, vous allez pouvoir en discuter et puis sélectionner les items que vous allez vouloir manger pendant la semaine. Donc, assurez-vous de rester en bonne communication avec les gens dans votre patrouille. Pour les IST, à l'aéroport en arrivant, il va y avoir un site d'accueil pour vous embarquer dans les autobus pour le Jamboree. Les autobus vont faire un arrêt en chemin. Donc, vous pouvez aller à la salle de bain, vous acheter un petit quelque chose. Assurez-vous d'être de retour, par exemple, à l'heure dans l'autobus parce qu'ils ne vont pas vous suivre. Donc, si vous débarquez, ils ne sauront pas si vous êtes rembarqué ou non. Donc, vous ne voulez pas manquer votre autobus. Pour les participants, ça va être un peu différent parce qu'on va vous accueillir. Il va y avoir des gens du contingent à l'aéroport pour vous accueillir au pré-camp. Puis, on va vous amener directement sur le site du Jamboree à la fin du pré-camp. Ayez tous vos documents prêts à votre arrivée sur le site du Jamboree pour que l'enregistrement se déroule rapidement. Les douches, les salles de bain sur le site ont également l'air bien. Puis, si vous avez suivi les photos, vous avez vu que l'édifice permanent se construit aussi rapidement sur le site. Donc, ça a l'air très beau. Dernier message, de suivre les réseaux sociaux. Le Facebook du contingent a beaucoup d'informations et le Discord est très important pour avoir de la communication. Ça va être le principal moyen de communication pour le contingent. Donc, si vous n'êtes pas sur Discord encore, assurez-vous de vous joindre au serveur pour le contingent. On va s'assurer que le lien est dans le chat. That's it.
Thanks very much, David. Appreciate the translation. So I get to talk about a couple things. One is we've had fantastic discussions with our embassy in South Korea. Our embassy has been extremely supportive. They are working both with us as well as with other embassies, especially the Australian and the UK embassy. Can we mute everybody?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm just I was trying to do it a different way.
Okay.
I was going to turn off the mic for everybody. So you have to unmute. Well, when I mute everybody, David, it mutes yourself included.
We've had a great opportunity to meet with our embassy. They're meeting with Australia. They're meeting with the Jamboree itself and the organizing committee. There are a couple things we want to make sure everybody is aware of. The Korean society is a very conservative society. So they have an awful lot of rules and regulations and laws. We are in a completely different country. The understanding is we abide by their rules and their laws. That's their expectation as well. And they will not hold any sort of give us grace just because we're foreign people in their country. If we break the laws in Korea, there's the likelihood of that they will press criminal charges and or fines in regards to the laws that we break. A couple of things we want you to be aware of, and we're going to be bringing this up in basically the discussion that we're going to have on our code of conduct, is if you break a criminal law in South Korea, you have the potential that you will be in jail for the first 2 days until they determine whether there's enough evidence to sort of prosecute you. If there is enough evidence to prosecute you, you'll probably be in jail for the next 10 days at least until you are brought before a judge. If you are brought before a judge and the judge determines that there is enough evidence to continue, you will probably be in jail up until 3 months. So there is that potential that it's going to be 3 months until your trial occurs that you will be in a foreign jail. The expectation in Korean society is that if you are 14 years of age and older, you will be tried as an adult. So there is no youth trials in South Korea. So all of our participants who are going to the Jamboree will be tried as adults. Okay, we will, from a contingent point of view, provide all the resources that we can, including our embassy. And the thing about that is the embassy, you will need to notify, if you are put in jail, you need to notify the Korean police that you would like to speak to an embassy official. You have to ask for that in person. Okay. So those are some of the things in regards to the criminal prosecution. The embassy will provide information for defense attorneys. They have a full list of defense attorneys. They have a full list of information that they can provide foreign nationals in basically the criminal cases of South Korea. David, if you want to just quickly translate that part.
Yeah, of course, that's important. So, donc, le contingent a eu une discussion avec l'ambassade du Canada à Séoul, donc lorsqu'on a des gens qui y sont allés. Lorsqu'on va dans un pays étranger, comme ça va être le cas cet été, c'est important de suivre les lois du pays, donc dans ce cas-ci de la Corée en tout temps pour éviter des problèmes. Si vous contrevenez aux lois pendant l'événement, vous pourriez devoir aller en prison jusqu'à 2 jours, le temps qu'ils décident s'ils vont vous poursuivre ou non. Si les procureurs décident de vous poursuivre, ça peut prendre un autre 10 jours avant d'aller devant un juge, puis ensuite jusqu'à 3 mois avant d'avoir un procès. Pendant ce temps-là, vous seriez en prison, vous seriez détenu. Tous les gens de 14 ans ou plus sont traités comme des adultes dans le système judiciaire coréen, donc tout le monde du contingent serait traité comme un adulte. Le contingent va, dans ce contexte-là, vous offrir le maximum de services possibles, incluant de contacter l'ambassade du Canada pour vous donner des ressources. Vous pouvez en tout temps demander de contacter l'ambassade pour obtenir leurs conseils. L'ambassade va être en mesure de vous fournir de l'information sur le processus ainsi que sur des avocats de la défense qui pourraient être disponibles. Donc, on vous donne cette information-là de manière proactive pour que vous puissiez planifier. On espère que ces situations-là ne se passeront pas, mais au besoin, on vous donne l'information. Thank you.
Thanks, David. That being the case,
hang on. Oh, there's a question from
I was
someone
about to answer that into the next question.
Shelsley. Someone has their hand up.
I'm a scout from the city of Sagma. I was wondering where we're going.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, Robert, can you say that again?
Okay.
All right. Well, if you have, message me directly and I'll reply back.
There are a couple of things that people are asking in regards to the laws that are different. Most of the laws that are in South Korea are very much the same. It is a democracy. I can't stress enough, it's a very conservative society. If it's on a bus or a train and it's a quiet zone, it is expected that you are quiet. They are okay, you know, walking down the street and having a good time, not a problem. But the place is clean, and I mean, people have they truly respect their city. There, you will be frowned upon if you're throwing garbage on the ground, because people actually go out on their lunch hours and clean the city. Okay, we saw numerous groups going around for no purpose except that they have volunteered to help clean the city. So you're going to see that when you're in Seoul. There are a couple of main laws though, and it deals with basically age of consent and expectations. So for example, the age of drinking, the drinking age in South Korea is 21 years of age. So those of you who are 18 currently and 19 will not be allowed to drink while you're in Korea. And it's not just don't do that. It is heavily fined, and there are criminal charges that could be put against you should you be found drinking underage. Another sort of key law, and we've talked to your unit leaders, okay, is currently it's the age of 20, but it will be 21 by the time we're in at the Jamboree, is that the age of consent for sexual intercourse is 21. Anybody else having sexual intercourse under the age of 21 is basically breaking the law. There is high standards for rape charges in the South Korea, and there's high belief in the women's discussion in regards to allegations of rape. So it's extremely important you know these, because it is not something that is taken lightly in Korean society. Again, any of these things that occur and that there is issues that occur at the Jamboree or during the Jamboree or during pre-camp, and if there are criminal charges laid, there is nothing we can do as a Canadian contingent to really help you except notify next of kin and emergency contact and the embassy. We will be notifying the embassy of all the flights going to Korea. We will be notifying all of the personnel and giving them manifests of all flights going to Korea, all flights coming back from Korea. Okay. We will have a crisis team or crisis management team set up as well, going through at least 40 to 50 scenarios at least that we have developed in regards to what things could go wrong and how we have to deal with those, and how quickly can we get in touch with people back here in Canada, because it is a 13-hour time change. So right now we're 7:30 in the evening. It is 8:30 Monday morning right now in South Korea. So we'll be on that Korean's time, and so when we phone on a Monday morning at 8:30, we'll be talking to somebody here in Canada at Sunday night at 7:30. So we will make sure that we have all the logistics of all that information to ensure that we have are set ourselves up so that there won't be major issues. I'll turn this over to David.
Yeah. Donc, la société coréenne est une société très conservatrice avec des règles bien établies qu'il est important de suivre en tout temps. Donc, par exemple, il y a des zones silencieuses qui doivent être absolument respectées. Par exemple, si vous prenez le train, si vous ne les respectez pas, il y a des gens qui vont venir vous voir pour vous le dire et vous le faire respecter. Donc, ne soyez pas cette personne. Si vous avez des déchets, assurez-vous de les mettre dans des poubelles parce que c'est une société très propre. Il y a des bénévoles qui s'occupent de nettoyer l'extérieur. Donc, on ne veut pas alourdir leurs tâches. On est des scouts, on place tout dans la poubelle. L'âge légal pour boire en Corée est de 21 ans. Donc, si vous êtes 18, 19, 20 ans ici au Canada, vous n'avez pas le droit de boire en Corée. Vous ne devriez pas boire, surtout si vous êtes scout et que vous êtes vous avez la responsabilité de jeune. L'âge de consentement pour les activités sexuelles est de 21 ans. Donc, c'est illégal si vous êtes en bas de 21 ans. Et en Corée, ils sont très sévères sur les allégations de viol qui sont prises très au sérieux et ils agissent très rapidement. Donc, considérez cela. Si jamais il y a une situation qui arrive, comme on l'a mentionné auparavant, et que des poursuites sont entamées, le contingent peut être très limité dans l'aide qu'il peut vous apporter, à part informer l'ambassade ainsi qu'informer vos contacts au Canada. Et par la suite, ils pourront vous aider pour la suite des choses. L'ambassade va être informée des détails de tous les vols à l'aller et au retour pour les gens du contingent pour qu'ils puissent aider. Il y a une équipe de gestion des urgences aussi qui va être mise en place. Il y a des scénarios qui ont été étudiés par l'équipe de gestion par Scouts Canada et l'association pour être capable de répondre à tout événement. On s'assure aussi d'avoir une capacité de communiquer en urgence avec les équipes au Canada. Malgré qu'on soit en Corée, il y a quand même une différence d'heure de 13 heures, donc c'est important de le prendre en compte lorsqu'on communique. Ça va être important pour vous aussi de le prendre en compte.
Thank you very much, David. Those are some of the key things. We will have talked through the PLs and the unit leaders as well too. Part of what we're going to talk about tonight is a code of conduct, and again, working with your unit leadership. Now, something's really cool, and we're going to take you over to the site, and we're going to give you somewhat of an understanding of how things are going to go on the site. So you will have a fantastic pre-camp, and your pre-camp will take you to the site, and your unit leaders and your PLs will have all their paperwork done. That bus will roll up to the information or to the site, to the sort of welcome center. Somebody will come on the bus. The unit leaders and the patrol leaders will give all of their information, and as long as they've done everything and everything's great, then the bus is going to go to your subcamp and drop off your gear and you to that subcamp, and you will load yourselves into the subcamp. And it's a huge site. It's enough for the 20 tents, which will be fitting all 40 of you. 2 massive tents in the middle for your cooking and relaxing. Your subcamp is pretty cool setup as well too. There is fire pits, true fire pits for your subcamp. There will be a area where you will meet the subcamp team who's running it. All of the subcamps are named after previous World Jamborees. So we actually have 2 Canadian subcamps. We have Niagara-on-the-Lake and Kananaskis. One of our close friends, Phil Chasson, is Deputy Subcamp Chief for Niagara-on-the-Lake. So those who are lucky enough, hopefully, to be in that subcamp can say hi to Phil. You will then go to your site. You'll set up your own tents. You get yourselves all set up during that period of time as you get into the Jamboree. On non-event days, food will be available at 5 a.m. And if anybody misheard me, food will be available at 5 a.m. The understanding is 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., somebody from your unit, and I'm going to be using the word unit from now on because the 4 patrols that make up the unit is going to be the key unit item that goes through the Jamboree for your, basically your program, as well as for cooking, Everything else, it's going to be unit. So unit leaders, patrol leaders, you might want to get one of these if you think you might have to wake people up at 5 a.m. Just saying, just putting that out there. So 5 a.m. start. Your program is going to be pre-programmed and given to you. And that program will include at least 3 offsite activities, as well as a whole bunch of on-site activities. The on-site activities, there are key activity centers all across the Jamboree, and you will be designated A site or B site or C site or D site, and that's where you will take the unit, and that's what your unit will do for the day on those sites. And there are at least 40, 50 types of different Jamboree activities at all of these, including swimming. There's water activities at some of the sites. So all those things will be available as the patrols and units are put onto their subcams. So that's how your true day will go. We're going to actually turn it over to Remy in a little bit. He's going to talk to you, and Emily will talk to you about Culture Day. That is something extremely interesting that you're going to want to know. Susie, is there anything I missed in regards to what's going to sort of happen at the sites?
No, those are the hugely important pieces. Now, those of you with allergies, when it comes to going to get your food, you're going to want to make sure that you know what food you're picking up, because you might have to go over to a little freezer truck and pick up other stuff potentially, depending on how that works out with your food box and your allergies. So please link that up with your PULs and our team, Maria and Eric and ourselves, to make sure that we're looking after all those. But yes, 5 to 6 a.m. and 5 to 6 p.m., very important times for food. It's not that you won't be able to pick it up after 6, but the subcamp may not be able to help you as quickly. So you may miss something else. Very important timings.
I'll turn this over to David for a second for some translation.
Oui, donc oui, par rapport au site maintenant, donc on a des gens qui sont allés visiter, qui ont plus d'informations à nous donner. Donc les sites, pour chaque unité, il va y avoir l'équipement pour la cuisine, il va y avoir les tentes, il va y avoir un abri commun avec les tables pour pouvoir s'installer. Chaque site d'unité est regroupé en sous-camps. Chaque sous-camp est nommé selon des endroits où se sont déroulés des jamborees mondiaux dans le passé. Il y en a 2 qui portent des noms canadiens, donc vous pourrez aller les trouver. Il y en a un qui s'appelle Niagara et le gestionnaire est un Canadien, donc vous pourrez aller lui faire un petit salut. Dans chaque sous-camp, il va y avoir des activités, dont une aire de feu pour avoir des spectacles, pour aller rencontrer les autres pays qui vont être dans votre sous-camp. Les jours où est-ce qu'il n'y a pas d'événements spéciaux, donc la nourriture va être disponible de 5 h à 6 h le matin et de 5 h à 6 h le soir. Donc, ça va prendre des gens courageux pour se lever tôt et aller chercher la nourriture. Quelqu'un dans l'unité. Donc, vous pourrez vous travailler un horaire avec ça. Ça va être important de connaître les allergies dans votre unité pour s'assurer de ramasser la bonne nourriture. Ça se peut qu'il y ait des items spéciaux à aller chercher dans un frigidaire spécial. Donc, soyez au courant des allergies dans votre unité. C'est l'unité qui va être vraiment importante pour ce qui est de la nourriture et des activités. Vous faites ça, non pas en patrouille, mais en unité. Pour ce qui est du programme, donc comment vous allez occuper vos journées, ça va être, comme je l'ai dit plus tôt, prédéterminé de façon aléatoire. Il va y avoir au moins 3 activités hors du site principal du Jamboree. Le reste seront sur le site. Il y a plusieurs sites d'activités partout autour du site principal, avec 40 à 50 différentes activités. Donc, il y a en masse de quoi vous occuper pendant la durée du Jamboree. Il y a des activités de nage et activités nautiques à certains endroits notamment. Puis, la journée de culture, ça va être une journée importante qui tombe exactement au milieu du Jamboree. Donc, Rémi et Émilie vont pouvoir vous en parler plus tard.
Thank you very much, David. At this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to Remy and Emily. And if you don't know Emily by now, Emily is in charge of both Canada House as well as she's in charge of Canada Program. And she reports to Remy. And so I will turn it over to those two.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so last meeting, we did talk about that for Culture Day. There is some changes. So we no longer need to prepare food portions. So I know everyone had a lot of great ideas about what Canadian recipes we can feature. So the rundown for Culture Day, which is August 6th. So on that day, there would not be any on-site or off-site program. Everything would be down at the subcamps. And also on the official Jamboree channel, they also have started posting a lot of media and kind of stories about it. So what's happening in the morning is we would love, even just throughout the Jamboree and for that morning, especially because people would be having free time and would likely be wandering around the subcamps, is to decorate your subcamps, do your exhibits, have the games that you plan to play, and maybe just welcome and invite the patrols and the units that are walking around to your subcamps to share with them about some of the Canadian culture. Then after lunch would be a regular lunch cooked by your patrols and units. There would be Korean cultural displays. So there's probably going to be show, dances, performances, and also the Korean Air Force will be doing a demonstration. And earlier in the call, we talked about Saemangum Got Talent. So there will be a talent show. We would love for some of our Canadian youth or patrols to join in a talent show. We can send out some sign-up information. And then in the evening, there will be a concert. So that would be the rundown for, in the evening, there is also a chicken dinner cooking competition. So that one, everyone would be getting the same meal. And it should be a fun, really festive atmosphere. Okay, maybe over to Remy for translation.
Bonjour tout le monde. Comme Émilie l'a mentionné, il y a eu des changements sur l'horaire du pré-camp. En fait, il n'y a plus besoin de faire de la nourriture lors de l'activité pour faire découvrir le pays parce que la journée est principalement axée sur la culture de la Corée pour qu'on apprenne à mieux les connaître. Donc, dans la partie avant-midi, vous pouvez faire vos chants, vos jeux, votre musique que vous avez préparée et inviter les autres du Soucan à venir vous visiter et vous pourrez aller visiter les autres de votre Soucan. C'est un dîner en unité normal et dans l'après-midi, il y a plein d'activités organisées par l'organisation du Jamboree, tel un spectacle d'avion, il y a les spectacles des talents que vous pouvez déjà vous inscrire si vous avez un spectacle à proposer et des activités toute l'après-midi avec un souper qui est un concours de poulet. Tout le monde va manger la même chose, tout le monde va préparer la même chose et on va déterminer quel pays a le meilleur poulet de tout le Soucan. Et le soir, c'est un concours, un spectacle de K-pop. Donc, la journée va être principalement axée sur la culture coréenne, mais vous avez quand même au moins toute l'avant-midi là, pour présenter des pays. Donc, on vous demande de laisser tomber tout ce qui est nourriture, là, mais gardez votre planning le plus simple possible. J'ai dit.
Thank you. Are there any other questions about Cultural Day? Okay. And then the Canada House and our STEM program, Science and Technology program, will be located in the Delta, which you can see some of the maps of the Jamboree. It's actually it's that triangle at the bottom, surrounded by all the subcamps. So please visit during your free time. And then for the ISTs, especially the first 1 or 2 days, you will be reporting to your IST jobs at the Jamboree. But on day 1, before all the participants arrive, if you do have any spare time or spare hands, we would love your help to help get set up as well. Remy?
Le Canada a une activité programme pour l'activité de robot, donc on va avoir des unités qui vont venir participer à ça et ça va être mixé avec la Maison du Canada, donc tous les IST et bénévoles qui sont sur le site, une fois que vous aurez votre horaire. Si vous avez du temps de lousse, vous êtes toujours la bienvenue à venir nous donner un coup de main à la Maison du Canada ou à l'activité pour s'occuper de tous ceux qui vont venir nous visiter. Donc, vous verrez lorsque vous aurez votre horaire d'ici quelques jours.
Thank you very much, Rennie. We will be answering questions, so if we haven't answered your question, do not worry, but there's some great information in here as well too. Currently, right now, you do have the opportunity to vote for your favorite K-pop artist. I'm sort of going for Blackpink. I like that music. BTS, little over them now, but Blackpink is my kids have been playing an awful lot of that lately. So whoever your favorite K-pop artist is, go onto the site. This is going to be broadcast by the Korean Broadcasting Association. This is a big deal for Korea, folks. This is a huge deal. There's an awful lot of media already showing up on site, and they will be broadcasting a special from the Jamboree, including the concert. Okay. So this, we don't know who it's going to be playing, but we expect it's going to be a fairly large popular artist. At this point, I will turn it back to George in regards to who we need to talk to, and I think it's going to be Maria next.
Susie has her hand up first, so I'm going to let her go first.
I'm going to be really quick, but it actually tucks right into what David Frederick just said about the fact that there will be media everywhere. It is not our responsibility to speak to the media. We need to ensure that the right people are talking to the media and not just being pulled aside to speak to them. We need to keep that in mind, and we will ensure that everybody knows those proper ways to do it, because it will happen. But we need to just ensure we're following proper media and communication protocol, which will ensure everybody has.
Excellent. So next on my agenda, I believe, is Maria. Wherever that went.
Hello, everyone. So Dave mentioned it a little bit and went into the code of conduct that I have to talk to you today. Basically, like he said, the legal age of consent. We had mentioned last time that it was going to be 20 years old. Well, it's going up to 21 by the time we get to the Jamboree. So this applies to participants, adults alike. The legal age for sexual intercourse is 21 years old, and engaging in this activity can result in jail time and processing in South Korea judicial system that could take multiple months. This code of conduct will be published, and it has to be signed by everyone in the contingent, like I said, youth and adult alike. It also mentions a few things of respecting the code of conduct that we have here as the Canadian Contingent, but also the legal system in Korea, knowing that is quite different to what we're used to here, and there's a zero tolerance for a lot of things. Knowing the consequences as well, not just being sent home at your own expenses, but also fines, legal fees, and jail time in Korea. So please, this is not something we want to mess around with. And like David mentioned, this is a country where there's always someone watching. There's always the police present. There's zero tolerance. So when this gets out, when the document gets out, everyone is going to sign it, and you will upload it onto your lodger forms. Donc, aujourd'hui, on parle du code de conduite, comme Dave l'a mentionné tantôt. Une des choses qui change, c'est que l'âge légal de consentement, ça va être 21 ans. On avait parlé de 20 ans au début, le mois passé. Pour le temps que le Jamboree va commencer, ça va être 21 ans. Et c'est savoir que avoir des rapports sexuels si la personne est âgée de moins de 21 ans est une activité qui peut entraîner une peine d'emprisonnement et un traitement dans les systèmes judiciaires sud-coréens. Donc, le code de conduite qu'on va vous envoyer, ça parle aussi de le respect du code de conduite canadien, autant que le respect du système légal de la Corée du Sud, parce que c'est pas seulement vous allez être renvoyé du Jamboree et vous devez payer vous-même les frais pour le nouveau billet d'avion. C'est aussi l'effet que vous peut-être aller avoir à payer des amendes, des frais de justice, et le fait que vous pouvez être emprisonné, comme on a mentionné, c'est vous pouvez passer du temps dans une prison coréenne. Donc, ces documents, on va l'envoyer à tout le monde. C'est quelque chose qui doit être signé par tout le monde, adultes, jeunes, et vous allez le télécharger sur Logiforms. Donc, d'ici la fin de la semaine, ça va être disponible pour tout le monde. And that is all the information I have today.
So one thing to add on to that is in Korea, when we met with our embassy, they said anybody over the age of 14 is actually tried as an adult. So everybody participating, we don't have any minors participating in this event, which means everybody around the table completely is of adult age when it comes to the laws.
Donc, une petite précision de savoir que tous les jeunes, c'est à partir des 14 ans, sont jugés comme des adultes en Corée du Sud. Et tous nos jeunes ont minimum 14 ans. Donc, si vous brisez la loi, si vous un crime, quelque chose, vous allez être traités comme des adultes. Gardez ça en tête.
Thank you very much, Maria. We put up the Canadian Travel Destination Guide for South Korea. Okay, please take a look at Global Affairs. We will be passing information on in regards to what they have for us that we can pass on to you. And we will be working with everybody to secure and make sure that your travel is going to be as easy as possible. And we'll talk more with your unit leaders and patrol leaders on what we're going to be doing along those lines to make life easy for everybody. Is there an update from David Pulio today?
Of course, there is.
So
I think it's my turn. So I'm gonna give everyone a quick. I'll try to be quick because we know you have a lot of questions. An exciting update on the travel side. You were all asking for it. So the flight information was sent to everyone 2 weeks ago. So make sure you have a look at your email to find your flight information. If you have any questions about any of that, just write to us and we'll assist you. I'm just gonna quickly go over the document. It's a very important document. It contains links and information that will be helpful for your trips. I'm just gonna go over it, but please make sure you open your own version, the one you received by email, which has your personalized information, and read it carefully in its entirety so that you have all of the information related to you. It's recommended, first of all, that you print a copy and bring it with you on the trip. It's going to be better to, it's going to be easier to use it if it's in a paper copy than if it's on your phone and you don't have a battery or anything. So paper always works. Make sure that the information that is there is correct. If it's not, as I said, please reach out to us and we'll try to help you. From now on, please make sure to check the airline's website for any update about your flight, such as change to the schedule. The contingent will notify you if there is a change of half an hour home or more. If it's less than that, we expect that you will be monitoring your own flights and you will know that the flight's been moved by that time. So the first page is divided into 2 sections. The first one is departure. The second one is return. If you see a lot of blank on the page, consider yourself lucky. That means you have less flights than others in the contingent. So everything is intended on that page. At the bottom of the first page, there is the information section. This is useful information for you if you want to do your online check-in, or for the airline if you need assistance. So that's why it's also useful to have a printed copy of that so that you can show to the airline staff if you need assistance. They will be able to help you with these numbers. In terms of general guidance, regularly check the airline's website for updates on your flights. As I mentioned, you will need your flight information and travel dates to do that. It's everything that you have in the document. You need to make sure you are at the airport 3 hours before the departure of your first flight to give you enough time to go through all of the process and board the plane. A reminder for those that may not know that the time that is indicated in your itinerary and that shows on the airline website is the time the plane actually departs the gate. It's not the time you board the plane. So make sure you are there well in advance, that you can go through the check-in process, the security process, and get to your gate, so that at the time that's indicated in your itinerary, you can actually be on the plane and the plane can leave. If you are not there, if you show up at the gate at the time that is indicated in the document, the plane would already be gone and it will be too late. At the airport, at all times, stay close to your gate and listen for announcement. It's not the time to have headphones to listen to music or anything. It's time to be concentrated and listen to any announcement pertaining to your flight. You should always stay close to your gate so that you can get this information. At all time, we ask you to wear your contingent necker and your red T-shirt so that we can easily spot you in the airport. It's also going to help you cross the border when we arrive in South Korea, because the agent's going to recognize that you are a scout. As there's 50,000 people going there, they will know that there is an event. They know what's happening, so they will recognize you. It's going to go faster for everyone. The itinerary contains the list of imported documents you need to bring with you. We also recommend that you bring a copy in your carry-on luggage. So in case you lose any of that, it's going to be easy to get a replacement if you have a copy with you. You need your passport and permanent resident card if applicable. You need the printed copy of the itinerary. You need the signed parental consent letter if you're under 19 years old. You need the Korea Electronic Travel Authorization, the KTA, or the visa if you are not traveling with a Canadian passport. If you are good, you don't need any of that, but you can still get it if you want. You need your medical prescriptions and the narcotics bring it permit for Korea if you are bringing in any special medication. Maria can help you for any of that. It's also recommended that you bring your proof of vaccination against COVID-19 so that if you are asked at the airport or at the border, it's going to be easier to provide it. It's not mandatory, but it's always good in these times to have it. And Q code submission, it's a system for South Korea that can help you cross the border a bit more efficiently. It's not mandatory again, but the link is in your itinerary. For the baggage allowance, we spoke to that in a couple of meetings before now, but you can bring one checked bag for 23 kilograms, 158 centimeters long, as well as a carry-on and a personal item. These last two will be with you on the plane. The checked bag will go under the plane. There are restrictions as to what you can put in which bag, so make sure you have a look at the website to get information, and the airline website will also have information on that. We recommend again that you bring a backpack instead of a rolling suitcase, as not all trails will be paved on the Jamboree site. And you need to make sure you are able to carry all of your things from start to finish, because everyone will be traveling with their stuff. So we cannot, there's not a lot of people that will be able to assist you. So don't bring things you cannot travel with. In terms of the insurance, so everyone will receive the information about their specific insurance policy by email, in an email from confirmations@igoinsured.com. If you haven't received it now, it's normal. We are still processing all of that, and you should receive it by mid-June. If by that time you don't hear anything about the insurance, write to us and we'll make sure to follow you all of the information. There is an optional flight assistance plan that you can sign up for. This is entirely optional. It doesn't affect the coverage for everything else. It's just a cancellation and delay compensation, and it's automatic. You need to register before you take your first flight. So if you want to do that, the details are in the itinerary. There's also the registration of Canadians abroad. So it's a website by the Government of Canada where you can sign up and let the embassy know that you will be in the country. So even if we as the contingent are in contact with the Canadian Embassy in Seoul, it's always good to still fill out the application and have your name in the system. So they're going to be able to assist you and get you messaging if necessary. In terms of support, so the contingent is there to monitor all of your flights. We'll take any action necessary to make sure you can make it to the Jamboree as quickly as possible if there's a change in your itinerary. If you need assistance at any time, write to us at our regular email address. We'll be monitoring that very closely and we'll be able to answer you quickly. There will also be a travel support channel in Discord so that we can assist you. We're finalizing the setup of that, so it's going to be still a way to reach out to us. If your baggage is lost or damaged, there are details about what to do in your itinerary, as well as if you miss a flight over connection. All of that, there's going to be this information and even more in an upcoming travel newsletter. It's going to be published by mid-June. It's going to get you a lot of more information about everything, a lot more details, a lot of links, and a lot of lists. So make sure you read that. And if you have any question after that, you can reach out to us. We're always happy to help.
And if I may, excuse me, David, and if I may add, because I saw some comments in the chat, is there a way we can have all those information requirements form? Can you provide a single consolidated checklist? Yes, there's going to be one. David and I did one, in fact, and it's going to be in, David, correct me if I'm wrong, the handbook. Yeah. And it's supposed to be out in the newspaper as well.
Yeah, so there's going to be checklist in the handbook that is upcoming and the travel newsletter in mid-June. So you're going to be able to print these pages and check off, make sure you have everything.
Yes.
So be very careful, folks, because what that question was could there be a single form for all of that documentation? That was the
that's
question,
not what I understood.
not a checklist, a single form. So no, there is not a single form. We will provide you a checklist of all the forms.
Okay, because here it says, can you provide a single consolidated checklist so we don't miss anything? So that's why I thought it was a list that we're waiting for.
Forms, no.
Yes.
Yeah, so travel is a lot of bureaucracy, so you need to make sure you fill out everything so that you can enjoy your trip. We're trying to give you as much information as possible. We know it's a lot, so that's why we put, if applicable, at some places, because it may not apply to you, but it may apply to one of the other 350 travelers we have with us. Donc, je vais maintenant le faire rapidement en français parce que c'est de l'information importante. Donc, vous avez maintenant reçu votre itinéraire de voyage avec vos informations de vol par courriel il y a 2 semaines. Assurez-vous de lire le document. Il y a de l'information spécifique à vous. Donc, si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter. L'information importante, à partir de maintenant, assurez-vous de suivre vos vols sur le site Internet de la compagnie aérienne. S'assurer d'être avisé s'il y a des changements et d'adapter vos plans en conséquence. Vous allez avoir besoin du numéro de vol et de la date du vol. C'est toute de l'information qui se trouve dans votre itinéraire. La première page est divisée en 2 sections, le départ et le retour. Si vous voyez beaucoup d'espace blanc, c'est parce que vous avez moins de vols que d'autres personnes dans le contingent, donc comptez-vous chanceux. Au bas de la première page, il y a la section information qui a des détails importants par rapport à votre réservation et à votre billet. C'est de l'information qui va être utile à la compagnie aérienne si vous avez besoin d'aide à l'aéroport. Donc, on vous recommande très fortement d'imprimer une copie de cet itinéraire et de l'apporter avec vous pour le voyage. De cette façon, si vous avez besoin de montrer de l'information à la compagnie aérienne pour avoir de...
You were muted. Somebody muted you.
OK. I'm back. Donc, l'information importante, vérifiez absolument le site Internet de la compagnie aérienne à partir de maintenant, comme je l'ai dit. Assurez-vous d'être à l'aéroport au moins 3 heures avant le départ pour avoir le temps de passer à travers tout le processus d'enregistrement, de sécurité et de vous rendre à votre porte. Restez tout le temps proche de votre porte d'embarquement pour entendre les annonces à propos de votre vol. Ce n'est pas le temps d'écouter de la musique, d'avoir des écouteurs, c'est le temps d'être concentré, d'avoir toute l'information nécessaire. Portez votre foulard et votre chandail rouge du contingent en tout temps pendant le transport. Ça va nous permettre de vous identifier et de vous aider au besoin. Ça va aussi vous permettre de passer la douane un peu plus rapidement, car les gens vont vous reconnaître en tant que scout. Puisqu'il y a 50 000 personnes qui vont à l'événement, ils savent que cet événement-là se passe et ils vont pouvoir avoir l'information plus rapidement. Il y a une liste des documents importants à avoir avec vous dans l'avion. On vous recommande aussi d'en imprimer une copie et de les apporter avec vous. Ça va être plus facile de les remplacer si jamais vous les perdez. Donc, ça vous prend votre passeport, ça vous prend une copie imprimée de votre itinéraire, ça vous prend la lettre de consentement parental pour tous les voyageurs de moins de 19 ans. Ça prend le KATA ou le visa si vous ne voyagez pas avec un passeport canadien, que vous ne voyagez pas avec le passeport d'un pays qui a une exemption. Donc, assurez-vous de vérifier. Si vous voyagez avec un passeport canadien, vous n'en avez pas besoin. Assurez-vous d'avoir vos prescriptions médicales originales et le permis d'apporter des médicaments pour la Corée si vous apportez des médicaments. Maria peut vous aider avec ça si vous avez des questions. Assurez-vous aussi d'apporter une copie de votre preuve de vaccination contre la COVID-19. C'est pas obligatoire, mais c'est recommandé de l'avoir. Ça peut vous aider si jamais c'est demandé. Il y a aussi le système Q-Code, qui est un système pour aider la douane sud-coréenne. C'est optionnel, mais le lien se trouve dans votre itinéraire si jamais vous voulez l'apporter, quand même le faire. Pour les bagages, vous avez le droit à un bagage enregistré avec un bagage de cabine et un bagage personnel. Ces deux derniers vont être avec vous dans l'avion. Regardez votre itinéraire pour avoir les détails sur les limites de taille et de poids. Il y a des items qui peuvent seulement être dans le bagage de soute. Il y a des items qui peuvent seulement être avec vous dans l'avion avec des restrictions. Assurez-vous de regarder le site Internet de la compagnie aérienne pour bien savoir ce que vous pouvez apporter ou non. On vous recommande d'avoir un sac à dos plutôt qu'une valise à roulettes parce que ça va être plus facile sur les sentiers du Jamboree. Assurez-vous aussi d'être en mesure de transporter tous vos effets pendant tout le voyage parce qu'il n'y aura pas de moyen de les transporter pour vous, sauf dans l'autobus pour les longues distances, bien sûr. Donc, soyez capable de transporter tout ce que vous apportez. Pour ce qui est des assurances, donc les informations vont vous être envoyées dans un courriel de l'adresse confirmations@igoinsured.com. Donc, assurez-vous de le regarder. Si vous ne l'avez pas reçu encore, c'est normal. On est encore en train de les traiter. Si vous n'avez rien par rapport à l'assurance, d'ici la mi-juin, contactez-nous pour avoir les détails. Il y a un plan optionnel d'assistance de vol qui peut vous donner de l'argent de façon automatique s'il y a des délais. C'est un plan optionnel qui n'a pas d'impact sur le reste de votre assurance, mais si vous voulez vous enregistrer, les détails sont dans votre itinéraire. L'enregistrement des Canadiens à l'étranger, qui est un système pour vous enregistrer auprès de l'ambassade en Corée du Sud, les détails sont dans l'itinéraire. On vous recommande d'y souscrire, même si le contingent est en contact avec l'ambassade. C'est toujours bon de remplir ces formulaires-là. Les détails pour le support, si jamais vous avez des problèmes pendant le transport, sont à la fin de la deuxième page de l'itinéraire. L'adresse courriel du contingent va toujours être surveillée de façon constante pendant qu'on va être en Corée. Donc, s'il y a un problème, vous pouvez nous écrire, on va vous répondre rapidement, ainsi que le canal support transport sur le Discord du contingent qui va être utilisé pour vous aider. Si vous avez besoin de plus de détails, si vous avez des questions à tout moment, n'hésitez pas à nous écrire, ça va nous faire un plaisir de vous aider. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So the next, well, that was the travel portion of the meeting. So the last half hour of this, at least, is just general Q&A. So we don't have anything else on our agenda. Oh, Laura wanted something to say. I know there was someone said Laura had something, and Maria has her hand up too. Maria can go first, and then Laura.
Hello. Because we mentioned the medication a few times while David was talking, we will send all the information you need to fill out the medication forms this week. So don't worry about that. After that, you can shoot me all the questions that you need. Donc, parce qu'on a mentionné à plusieurs reprises les médicaments, les prescriptions et les permis pour entrer en Corée avec ces médicaments-là, ne vous en faites pas. On va envoyer un courriel avec toutes les informations, toutes les formes à remplir. Et d'ici la fin de la semaine, et après ça, vous pouvez m'envoyer toutes vos questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob had his hand up very briefly.
He got booted from the meeting. So
okay.
So what he was going to discuss is we had a meeting before this meeting with Safe Scouting, and we will be reaching out to everybody and sending out a notice that we will have some safe space discussion areas, a specific channel on Discord, and a few phone calls with those of you around the table that have requirements in the LGBTQ aspect. We want to make sure that everybody feels safe, everybody has an area that they can have conversations that have to do with this, and that we can really again just ensure that everybody feels that safe space is there, and to have discussions with like-minded individuals. And if anything is going wrong, we want to make sure that we can take care of that. So that was what he wanted to talk about, and we will be posting something, and we will be inviting those of you around the table that would like to be a part of that.
So there was a question from Sarah. Do we know how much choice we have in choosing where we eat during the subcamp? So the patrols, the Jamboree units all eat together. They have a tent they set up. And if you're IST, there's a giant tent we all get to eat under at the same time. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. So your patrol will have more information about where you eat, but it's in your patrol unit.
There will also be food trucks as well as a restaurant of nations set up as well too in the Delta.
Oh, sorry, that was meant on pre-camps. So pre-camp, it's all a tour, and I believe all of the meals will be, I'm looking at Marie Claude or meals during pre-camp. How does that work?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So all meals are provided during the pre-camp. And just to give you an overview of all the meals, so you will have meals on the flights for the long trans-Pacific flights. So 2 to 3 services, depending on the length of the flight. When you arrive for the pre-camp, you're going to have all of the meals covered. On the Jamboree side, all of the meals are covered also. So ISTs you will eat. When you come back from the Jamboree, so you're going to have breakfast on your last day on the Jamboree site, but then the contingent flights are only in the evening. So you're going to be on the bus during the day. So if you want to have lunch during the day, you're going to need to pay for it yourself. So that's the only meal during all of the trip that you're going to need to pay if you want something. And just a quick note, the flight is kind of late in the evening, so it's 6 and 7 p.m., so you won't eat before 7 or 8 if the flights are not delayed. So if you want to have a quick dinner before you board the plane, that's also going to be on you.
There was a question on whether we're going to have a pre-camp meeting. We will have a meeting closer, probably one of the last meetings we have, which will be in June, in regards to talking about pre-camp and everything that to expect for pre-camp. So we will be having that discussion in our next meeting. We do not know if there's a voucher system at this point in time for the pre-camp.
So there was a question about do we have to pay another fee for activities during the Jamboree? So there was at one time some off-site meetings, or that might have had a cost. I don't know if that's actually the case anymore, given
we don't know at this point.
Yeah, so yes, there will be a meeting in July. Excuse me. There was a question further back about the three of you had been to the site. Can you describe it in any more detail? There's like a million questions all coming in all at once now.
So the site is progressing fantastic. There are photographs being shown on a weekly basis of the main Jamboree hub, which will be the hospital, the communication center, and the main administration area. You're seeing fantastic work coming along that. You're also seeing great shots of the covered canopy and the vines that are now growing over those areas, as well as it's sort of a misting sort of tent as well too as you wander through. There are some photographs now showing what a typical site looks like. There are some photographs showing what a typical subcamp looks like. The actual site itself is reclaimed ocean sand. That's what it is, okay? So it's a very granular sand. If you actually pick it up and look into it, you'll see seashells into it, and it's a sand that has been, grass has been grown into it to stabilize the sand. So that's what the site is, and that is exactly what all 7 by 3 kilometers of the 21 total square kilometers of this site is basically that sand. Is it windy on the site? Yes, when it's windy. Sorry, guys. You know, these questions they're good questions. It's just it's the same here. If you were to ask, is it windy in Burlington? Is it windy in Vancouver? It's not as predominantly windy. We've been there a couple of times, and we had a storm come through one day. The other time it was a beautiful sort of sunny day that we sort of walked through the site. So it's the weather-wise, it's typical weather that you would get. It's no different than probably any place here in Canada. We will tell you though, it's hot and humid. The times we have been there for a full week in August, it was hot and humid. Okay.
Hang on, I'm trying to bypass the lobby.
The temperature range, you're looking at between 30 and 35, including the humidity, and it actually doesn't go down in the evening. So if it's like it was last summer, you're in shorts and a t-shirt well into midnight.
Is there a handbook? Yes, we will have a handbook. We're just finalizing that. Ruben's going to have that in the next couple of weeks.
Someone asked, are we supposed to bring stuff from Canada? If you're at a Jamboree unit, your patrol unit leader will have more information about that for you.
One thing we are wanting to tell you, and we have told PLs and ULs, you do need to bring mess kits. It is on our list. You need to bring mess kits. Mess kits will not be provided. For the ISTs, it's a cafeteria style. You do not need to bring mess kits for the ISTs.
It's like someone has access to kick people, but it should only be myself that is allowed to do that. And
yeah,
Susan.
It's super weird. It's super weird. One thing, Dave Polio, if you can talk on the university side for the youth and adults, sound like a youth and PULs on the call, because we're getting some questions on whether they need to bring a sleeping bag. And I do believe they're definitely going to need it for the pre-camp. So if you can just give a quick little thing on that, that would be great. And that should take care of some of those questions.
Yeah, so you will need your sleeping gear for the pre-camp. You're going to have a bed, and that's pretty much it. There's not going to be any bedding or anything. So you need to bring stuff for the pre-camp also. The same stuff you're going to use on the Jamboree site is going to be enough.
Bring a sleeping bag. Someone not a sleeping bag liner, bring a sleeping bag. The worst case is you use it as something to lie on. You know, you'd be better off to bring it and not need it than to need it and not have it. At the last Jamboree, I thought the same thing. I brought just a little light sleeping bag, and by day 3, I was at the store buying a fleece blanket for myself.
And think about it as at the camp, you might not need it necessarily, but there will be air conditioning in the universities. So you need to be comfortable and not, the worst thing you're going to have is get sick when you're in the first few days that you're there.
Or hang on. Either there's something wrong with Teams, or someone has access to kick people again.
Yeah, I know. My daughter just came in and she said this. She showed me her thing. It said somebody removed you from the call.
I wonder who has access to that. I shut that off from the last time. Because the only people who should be able to kick are you and I.
It's probably a glitch then.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same options we have all the time.
We don't, I don't think Dave Franklin is on the call, is he?
No, I haven't seen Franklin.
Okay, so Sophie P asked about a food house meeting. You'll have to email Dave Franklin to find out when that would be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not only booting people, it's actually denying them access to come back in.
Yeah, and the meeting's not locked. Like I was, for all the people asking, bring a sleeping bag. Don't just like, I can't tell you how much I would say, bring the sleeping bag.
Yeah,
exactly. It is not worth saying, yeah, I'll just bring a light blanket, because if you're there, like legitimately, I was in West Virginia I looked at the temperatures. It was all supposed to be the same as here. By day 3, the temperatures had dropped, and I went and bought a fleece blanket. It's great that I have it now, but I was cold. I had I had a light bag, and I had I forget what else I had. Bring it, because if you don't bring it, and then you tell me, and I hear about it, I am going to tell you, I told you so. Legitimately, I will walk up to you and tell you that. I'll bring Seth's bagpipes with me and play it right beside your tent.
Okay, and just to reiterate, you're going to have to do whatever is best for you. We can only advise on, yes, we did say sleeping bag or sleeping bag liner. That's really going to be up to you, but you're going to want to be warm if it does drop down in temperature. And you're going to want to be warm in the university, as we've talked about. So very much a personal item to think about. Just because people are still.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions we haven't answered yet? Oh, I would probably just bring a summer bag. I wouldn't bring a four-season one.
I'm not sure if you answered this already, but is there anywhere to cash traveler's checks on site, or does it have to be cash and credit cards?
It's cash and credit cards. There will be an ATM bus that you'll be able to go into to take money out. If your bank card allows you for Interact transactions in South Korea, then you will be able to take money out there.
Can we swim in the ocean? I do not know. I don't think it's planned to be swimming in the ocean. You're muted, Susie, if you're talking.
No, I'm not talking to you. You're okay. There is a swimming area with swimming times. Once we have that information, we'll put it in the handbook as well. But it's not a free for all. You can't go down and swim in the ocean whenever you want. There'll be restricted time periods. And to answer the question on spraying for mosquitoes, they have already started that. They did a spray at the beginning of May, and they will be doing it at least one more time before the event.
So are COVID vaccines a requirement? I believe the answer is, oh, Maria's already answered that. Outside visitors are allowed in the site, but there is a fee. I saw that someone asked that earlier.
So outside visitors have restrictions. They can't go certain places on the site. There is a fee as well for them. And all of that information is up on our Facebook group and also on the WJ website itself as to exactly what visitors require to get on the site, how much it costs, and what areas they're allowed to be in. For instance, they're not allowed to go visit the patrol unit areas. They can only stay in the Delta area for child and youth safety reasons.
There is a question from Xavier.
Yeah, we have been kicked out, so we don't know if you've dealt with this. The medical forms for the importation of narcotics, is that signed by the scouters, even if they're 14, or is it signed by the parents? The forms don't seem to deal with whether it's a minor or not.
So the forms, I don't know if Maria was able to get back in or not.
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes, I am.
You're here? Go ahead.
So the forms has to be signed by the person who's bringing the medication in. So if the medication is at the youth's name, that's the person who's asking the permission to enter the country with the medication. It has to be signed by the youth. Obviously, please, parents, do it with your kids. Like I said, we're gonna send more information about this. There's guidelines to follow. other documents that you have to put together, like the prescription copy and your flight itinerary. So we will have more information about this, but the youth has to ask for this permission. So pour les permis d'entrée des médicaments, comme j'ai dit, on va avoir plus d'informations cette semaine, mais les papiers doivent être faits, la demande doit être faite par les jeunes ou la personne qui a besoin d'entrer au pays avec ses médicaments. Donc, si c'est un médicament pour votre enfant, c'est l'enfant qui doit le remplir, les signer pour que lui ait l'autorisation de rentrer au pays avec, pas les parents. Mais évidemment, s'il vous plaît, les parents, soyez là pour le remplir. I hope that answers the question.
Great, thanks.
To answer the question on showers, we are told right now that the shower trailers will have partitions in between each shower. It's a different one than we knew of before. As for hot water, the water will be pretty lukewarm. It's in a big vat that goes into the showers. If it's the new water that's been put into the reserve, then it'll be cold. But as it sits in the heat, it will warm up. But you won't get hot showers at camp. They're just not. That's not what they're bringing in. They're bringing in something so that everybody can be clean and hygienic, but there is no hot showers.
So cell plan, people have been asking this quite a bit, and there's multiple. You can go with your own roaming package here in Canada, and it's $15 or $20 a day. You can buy a SIM card at the Jamboree once you're off in the airport. The lineups are going to be horrendous for that. The recommendation is you probably order ahead, and we can talk about that and get that information out to everybody. The third option is the sort of online ordering of a virtual SIM card. We put information up on that as well too, and we'll provide more information. And Ruben will get all that information out on our website. Topik, how to order ahead. There is a shop in the airport that you can pre-order, but you still need to line up and pick it up. So.
And just to add on that we may not have the time to wait for everyone to get their SIM card before leaving, either for the pre-camp or ISTs for the site. So it's better if you can try to get it delivered to your home before you leave, or get an eSIM or something, because if there's a lot of people, there's a chance that you may not be able to pick it up and you'll have to leave.
David, is there Wi-Fi at the pre-camp at the university?
There may be Wi-Fi at pre-camp in terms of the universities, but Wi-Fi is quite common in Seoul, and so you'll be able to access internet. In Jeonju, it may be a bit more of a challenge during the 2 days we'll be there, but still Wi-Fi is widely available in South Korea, so you shouldn't have a challenge. Even if you don't have a SIM card, you'll still be able to communicate.
When Susie, myself, and Remy were walking through the city of Seoul, we just kept on pinging off free Wi-Fi networks. Somebody asked, are there sites and places to visit, either pre-camp or post-camp, or if you're touring? I would strongly recommend getting a Korean brochure or a Korean book, the folders or one of those books on sites to see in South Korea. We would also strongly recommend to each and every one of you right now, the Korean Association of Tourism, or the Korean Tourism Association. We can put their website up as well too. They have been more than generous in providing maps, brochures, booklets on what to see and do in Korea, what to see and do in Seoul. Top 5 things for me that we did in Seoul. One of the largest palaces in the main street, which is part of your pre-camp for those who are going to be on pre-camp. I forget, David, what that site is called, but it is an absolutely amazing main street. Most of the major museums are on the street. There's things to do above. There's things to do below ground. Some really neat, interesting items. The palaces are amazing. There's 2 major palaces in Korea, in South Korea. The Korean War Museum is highlight on our list of things that we went to see and do. the Korean needle or the observation deck on the mountain, which is in the middle of South Korea, is the gondola ride up on a beautiful evening is again one of those things that is a highlight to see and do if you're in Seoul. It is just a country that every time you turn around, you are just amazed at the sights you're seeing. And it's the exploration. If you're on a post camp or looking around, don't be afraid to ask. Most of the people are very generous with their time. We even had one person who walked so far out of his way to get us on a subway because we had no idea where we were going, and he took his time to put us actually on the correct subway. So, will there be offsite events for ISTs? Yes. We don't know where or how that's going to work, but we were told yes.
So we're at the end of our meeting, at least for the PULs and the participants and the youth. The IST portion of the meeting is about to start. If there are any additional questions, please email myself or the main info email address, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. The form or the code of conduct addendum will be mailed out to everybody soon. I think Laura, I hope Laura's back in the meeting by now. There's another email coming out with everyone's Jamboree numbers anyways. So we just have to figure out the proper timing so we're not sending 15 emails in a row. We'd much rather just send one out if we can. So look for it in your inbox soon. I just don't know exactly when it's going to be coming out. Any closing thoughts from Susie, David? He's got a big grin, so he looks like we don't want to hear you play the bugle, though.
No, not happening. Like I said, I'll close it off with a quick little story. We went to see the Stratford Festival, went to see Spamalot. Eric Idle was in the audience last night. He has a great song from the movie The Life of Brian. Always look on the bright side of life. We need to be positive. We're going to have a fantastic time. You put in what you get out of this. So if you're going to be the person who's going to be saying this is a fantastic event, that's what it's going to be. So we're here for you, and we're definitely the ones who will take any issues or concerns.
Perfect. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Sunday evening. As always, if the ISTs can hang back, we have some additional information for them. Great. Ruben has posted up some links on how to play a bugle. Sounds to me, David, like Ruben would like to borrow your bugle and learn to play. Yes, so that should stay at home and not come to South Korea. Maybe just record it on your phone and we'll pretend.